Welcome, everybody, to Haiku Poets of Northern California. This is our Two Autumns reading, our crown jewel. We have this reading once a year. This is our 35th year of doing Two Autumns. Every year we have 4 readers, and we accompany it with an anthology. And this year, this anthology is Water Between Mountain Stones. It was edited and produced by Shirley and Randy Brooks for HPNC. By now, I hope everybody's got a copy of the book. This is one of the perks of HPNC, is that we produce and we send out the anthology to everyone. So if you have your book, you can read along. The poets themselves produce their own reading, so they may or may not read the poems in the book. That's up to them. We'll see as we go along. So what's going to happen is I'm going to introduce each of the poets. We're going to have the first 2 poets in the order of the book read. After we get through halfway through, we do 2 poets. We'll take about a 5-minute break. I'll give you a little bit of an announcement. We'll come back and we'll do the last 2 readers. And then once we've done the full reading, all 4 readers, everyone can unmute and we can visit and talk talk to the poets that read. Sound good? Okay. So let me introduce to you Mimi Ahern. Mimi Ahern has been intrigued by the creative process for over 50 years. Midlife, she became serious about it, returning to school to earn an interdisciplinary master's degree in creativity at San Jose State University. Throughout her personal and professional life as a teacher, a designer, educator, this interest in creativity has continued. Smitten by haiku in 2008 at a Yuki-Tiki Haiku Society reading in an old trolley at History Park, San Jose, it's been her main creative release ever since. Having a hard time finishing things, she especially was drawn to the profound brevity of haiku. A member of HPNC, HSA, and YTHS, she is active in Yuki-Tiki, serving as editor of its 2016 members anthology, Cherry Blossoms Light, chair of the 2017 and 2018 Tokotomi contest, and society president from 2018 to 2020. She was made Dojin in 2022. The same year, she was one of the 17 poets included in a new Resonance 13. This year, she is busy helping to plan the Seaside Retreat at Asilomar, celebrating Yuki-Tiki Haiku Society's 50th anniversary. Mimi, here you go.
Thank you, Gary. So fun to see everybody in your little Zoom boxes. That Sue makes happen so beautifully in such a warm, welcoming way. Thank you, Sue. And I'd like to thank HPNC for choosing me to be one of the readers today. I was so excited when I heard the other 3s would be Gary, Yvette, and Randy. And I'm so glad to now be a part of this wonderful Two Autumns reading. To use Bruce's words when he invited me, is a great tradition. What a pleasure it's been working with Randy and Shirley from the beginning to the end when I held their beautiful chapbook in my hand. I love the choices and the sequencing of the 12 haiku they chose of mine for the book. So with deep thanks to them, I'm going to start my reading with those 12 haiku. So give me a minute, fingers crossed that I can share the screen. Okay, here we go. A chainsaw cutting straight through spring tranquility. In her small palm, an earthworm she names. Daylily. The thing is, you think you have time. Deep in the blossoming, the bee. His flute notes float into the cirrus. Summer twilight. Peeling paint on the old picket fence, wild with white roses. September seashore. Not enough names for the blues. Morning rain. Maple leaves fall as the bread rises. My daughter threads it as I did for my mother. Fading autumn light. We have no way of knowing. Black ice. Sleet. Sad news shared in an email thread. Until I hear otherwise. Birdsong. The rest of the haiku that I'm going to read today are organized into 5 groups. These groups are based on the 5 emotions identified by Paul Ekman in his research. Emotions which can be read universally on the human face, regardless of culture. I have Roger Abe to thank for an email he sent out when organizing a Yukiteki Haiku Society reading. These were his words. Why don't you share what you've been thinking about lately and working on? So I decided to expand upon what I first presented to Yukiteki a few years ago, expand on my thinking about emotions in haiku, and create a haiga for each one. With John Stevenson's kind permission, I begin the first group with his haiku. Not feeling good enough or bad enough for poetry. This haiku of John's kills me, says it all, nails my thinking about emotion and writing. To quote Henderson, haiku may be described as a record of a moment of emotion in which human nature is somehow linked to all nature. Here's the first group of the 5. Never ready for summer. Melted butter. My acceptance of this fiddle-faddle day, summer pajamas. I was so happy when Yvette chose this haiku for the Haiku Foundation's Haiku of the Day. It had first been published in Mariposa when Carolyn was editor. Such a great mentor she's been. Deep brown sheen of a cockroach back this morning. Sturgeon moon. Somebody's done somebody wrong song. Balmy breeze. How are you? She asks after already asking. School begins, the sharpened pencil behind her ear. Sforzando. He's using caps again in an email. Winter solstice. She can finally stop counting the days. This first group of haiku were all sparked by the emotion of disgust. Ekman describes emotions in terms of intensity, from most intense to least. It can range from loathing to dislike. And now the next group. Winter sun, as if nothing happened. That one turtle on top of the others again today. The daycare mother with another baby. Blazing heat. Bare feet on the kitchen floor, every crumb. Mosquito buzz. You really want to know what I think? Slapping of cards as she plays solitaire. Thunder roll. Autumn equinox. A long red line of taillights. On the back of the heating bill, his haiku. Ekman's anger categories range from the intensity of vengefulness through frustration and exasperation to annoyance. I hope you've been lucky enough to have Joan Zimmerman in your life. She's the absolute best haiku cheerleader ever, always so positive and encouraging. Joan sent out some homework once before a workshop. Think about things that annoy you. Well, that annoyed me since I've never liked homework much, but it got me thinking again about the emotion behind any writing, and in particular, the haiku I read and write. And now the next group. What would it hurt to open the door? Windflowers. Valentine's Day. His hand on the doorknob. A hummingbird between not hearing from him. Her temper. The spring-loaded screen door. Lest you forget her strength. Summer rain. Waning moon. Those who talk about it. Those who don't. Holding my breath for the old heater to kick on. Fear ranges from terror to panic to desperation to nervousness. Yvette's wonderful mother, Debbie, and I were once in a workshop where Debbie brought a haiku of hers about the time she was in a dark parking lot and couldn't find her car keys. Later, we had a conversation about how some of the suggested revisions workshopped the fear right out of her haiku. And now the next group. Their quiet voices. My father pulling weeds. Stargazer Lily. She's gone, is all he says. The dog walks in his owner's shadow, long, hot trail. Going through all my haiku and analyzing them in terms of the emotions, I was struck by how many of mine, published by Paul in Modern Haiku, have such a complex mixture of emotions, such as this one. Deep shade of the sycamore tree, here the whole time. A red truck stops at a red stop sign. End of summer. Homecoming, the chill from every cupboard. turning leaves, talking to the voices no one hears. A cored apple, unable to laugh or cry. By the window, his beige cardigan, unevenly buttoned. New Year's Eve, he combs over the little hair he has left. Sadness ranges from anguish and sorrow to hopelessness, helplessness, and disappointment. Before COVID, Patricia Mockmiller and I were taking a Chinese brush painting class. She painted complicated things. I kept trying to control the brush and the ink as I painted Enzo after Enzo. But because I love colors so much, I left the black Enzo behind and started playing with the idea of a moment in watercolor time. Encouraged by Patricia, I keep playing. And now the last group. Cerulean spring dawn, his song begins on middle C. The gardener, whistling again, white trillium. The way he just gets in the car and goes wildflowers. Prayer flags in the spring breeze. She feels the first flutter. Meadowlark and a little child, lost in song. A field of sunflowers rising to a standing ovation. Beyond the gate with white paint peeling, the summer sea. One day, out of the clear blue, this turtle card arrived. It was from somebody I didn't know. These were his words. Mimi, just to say, I particularly enjoyed your haiku in the current issue of Mariposa, and he had copied my haiku. Painting the sea, she lets the water do what water does. Keep up the good work, he continued. Hope you and yours are staying healthy during the pandemic. Gary Hotham. Oh my God, I thought to myself, that's the guy that wrote that haiku I love, first published in 1975 in Modern Haiku, and later anthologized in English in haiku the first 100 years. Here's Gary's haiku. Waiting room quiet, an apple core in the ashtray. So skilled his simple, concrete description that takes my breath away with the intensity of emotions that it evokes. How lucky I am to be part of this amazingly generous haiku community. We could be silent together. Morning Glory Vine. The love in her smile as he tells their story. Earthshine. This one wrote itself. After an HPNC reading, watching Chuck Brickley's wife, Kim, watch Chuck as he read from his award-winning book, Earthshine. Ekman's enjoyment emotions range from the most intense of ecstasy and bliss to the least, the pleasure experienced through the 5 physical senses. And since my sense of sight is usually part of the haiku moment, and because I love color so much, this last one by John Stevenson, with a visual by my grandson Benjamin when he was 2 years old. Pretty sure your red is my red. Thank you all for this chance to share my thinking about emotions and haiku. With this postscript, Ekman actually added 2 more to the original 5, contempt and surprise. And thanks to everyone in this haiku community who's inspired and supported me, including my daughters Miriam and Katie for their technical skill and their keen design eyes. This photo is of Katie on the same day as last year's 2 autumns, which I missed because I was there in France at a wedding with Katie. And a final thanks to Bruce, who, when he asked me to read last year, said, "Yes, go to France. You'll love it. I'll ask you again." And he did. And I'm so glad. And finally, thanks to you all for being here to carry on this great tradition. Thank you.
So Dr. Randy Brooks is a professor of English emeritus at the Milken University, Decatur, Illinois, where he teaches courses on haiku, tanka, and Japanese poetics. In 2022, he retired as the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. He and his wife, Shirley Brooks, are publishers of Brooks Books and co-editors of Mayfly Haiku magazine. Randy is on the executive committee of the Haiku Society of America as electronic media officer. He maintains the HSA website and edits the web sampler issues of Frog Pond. He serves as a webmaster for Modern Haiku Press and as web editor of Modern Haiku magazine. He is on the board of the American Haiku Archives. He also serves on the editorial board of the Red Moon Press Haiku Anthologies and was an editorial board member for Juxtaposition, a journal of scholarship on haiku. His most recent books include Walking the Fence, Selected Tanka, and The Art of Reading and Writing Haiku, a reader response approach. And here's Randy.
Okay. Well, thank you, Gary. I'm going to share my screen at this time. All right. Everybody can see that fine? Okay. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity to read and be a part of the 2 autumns reading today. Mimi's work was just amazing. I love the sumie and the haiga slides and stuff that were just awesome. So thank you so much for that, Mimi. It was wonderful. For my reading, I'm going to share with you starting some of my earliest haiku that are pretty well known, have been anthologized. And then I'm going to go with some of my more recent haiku. I retired as a dean in 2022 and found I have a lot more time now. And it's wonderful. And so what do I do with all this time? Oh, yes, haiku. So, and tanka. And so I've really loved being able to write more, to review work I've done over the years. For years, I've written, but not had time to send out as much. So the last couple of years, I've really been active in getting my work out. So today, I'm going to start with some of my early work that's sort of pretty well known, and then I'm going to move into my more recent work from the last 2 years. So the first one up is Dirt Farmer's Wife at the Screen Door, No Tractor Sound. This was one of my first or earliest haiku published in Modern Haiku magazine. It's also my earliest memory of my grandmother. I grew up in Western Kansas, and they lived out there on the wheat farms. And so this was a special haiku to me and my family. Second haiku is a vertical one. It was the ending haiku from my collection, School's Out. First snow, no walk long enough. And I wanted to sort of put that here early in this one because it's sort of this journey I've been on all this time in my haiku journey. I've continued to walk that path of being there and being present for the things in my life, both outside and inside myself. Here's the title poem from the School's Out collection. School's out. A boy follows his dog into the woods. Flag on the coffin. Her gloves off to hold the child's hand tight. My students in the class often say, is that about John F. Kennedy? I say, yes, it is. It's actually about Jacqueline and John. After all these years, she asked about her mother. I put on another log. Two lines in the water, not a word between father and son. This one won a Henderson Award. Funeral procession. Snowflakes blowing into the headlights. Miles to go. No tracks ahead of us in the snow. This one won an award from Heron's Nest. Tai Chi with my wife. Morning glories open. I don't write too many haiku about being an administrator because it's kind of boring usually, it's a kind of analytical thing to be doing. But here's one that's from Bean B. Evening walk after office politics. Lilac scent. A dandelion or two. None of her new friends, best friends yet. Lunch with a friend. How so few words hold me up. October light. I open my ribs to pray. Razor wire. Soldiers in the alley tossing dice. I just saw my twin granddaughters head off to college for a freshman year at SLU University in St. Louis. So this is a haiku from them. Lifting the frog to her twin sister. You kiss it first. New York strip. Our wedding anniversary, pink in the middle. Legendary catfish caught once or twice. The brackish lagoon. This was part of a haiku walk of exhibit in the Botanic Garden in Chicago. Turning our faces the same way, sunflowers. And okay, there we go. Floodwater's gone. The softness of mud left over everything. Snow-covered outhouse. The comings and goings of mice. My students like to write about angst and love gone wrong, and so we often have a little competition for anti-love haiku around Valentine's. So here's one I wrote for them that year. Breakup text. She cut straight bangs in a mirror. Dark side of the moon. We'll get around to it. This'll be an early afternoon, Tiger Swallowtail. Acoustic guitar. A wordless Old and New Testament. Young married couple. A pomegranate with no instructions. Late summer tomato. Some debts are never repaid. Coal mining town. The row of little houses used to be white. Digging potatoes. Her story reaches the end of the row. Falling willow leaves. Some stories are better whispered. A bite of apple for her imaginary friend, the horse rocking. Endangered species. The carousel rider, almost a teenager. Paper wasp. No corset thin enough. Open hand over her own heart. Oh, honey. The way she cares for every plant. Water me. That's actually kind of a standing joke around here. My wife loves gardening and she's always watering things. And her son, our oldest son, can't ever resist it. You say water me and she'll hose him off. So he just can't help it because it's been a long-standing joke. Same Kansas wind as the June wedding, her funeral. Jenny Wren, the song her mother chattered back. Old piano songbook. We let the wine breathe a little longer. This is a haiku where I try to encourage my students to value being present, to be part of the presence again of the world and of themselves, and to break out from all their to-dos and their worries about tomorrow and what's on their schedule and actually just be there. But so this is a haiku. Walking down the stairs between classes, phone zombies. New Year's Day, full with child unfolding crib instructions. Swimming hole, a little shade under the cowboy hat. First day of school, she grinds down the pencil to smell the cedar. Be a nice match with Mimi's haiku about the pencil behind the ear. The wren's garden, chattering in case I forgot. Chronic illness, so tired of being tired of being tired. School bus stop, first grader strapped to a backpack. Red button mushrooms, cheerful little fellows on a rotting log. Center of the labyrinth, a sweat bee rests. Old rock garden, A gentle shower washes winter away. So light on my feet, the water striders. The hummingbird and bees agree, not a weed. Old pickup truck, the constant static of grief. Field of winter wheat, what remains of the well house. I'm speeding up a little bit. I got a few more. Bell over the door. The bookshop cat looks up from a nap. Gingerbread men, a little boy's handprint in flour. The starfish missing a leg on the clearance shelf. Spring wildflowers, all of us immigrants. Swarm of mayflies, none of them with a return ticket. Marina bait shop, the ripples of faces in a dark bucket. I like to float in the lake and watch things going on around me. And I observed this one for quite a while and thought about which one was getting eaten this day. Catfish on the riprap. The water snake has a bigger mouth. End of dinosaurs. No more toilet paper on the shelves. A silver iris beard. Most of my friends are weeds. Drawing of her family, all the people sunflowers. Praying mantis, there is no such thing as upside down. Dad's tackle box, needle nose pliers above all else. Two more. Bald dandelion clock. Nobody knows me without a beard. Oh, I said there's still two more. Election over. One of us must tell the bees. Get the final one. The deep end. Letting retirement sink in. Okay. So thank you so much for letting me be part of the Two Autumns reading today.
Okay, let me introduce Gary Hotham to you. Gary Hotham has been active in the English language haiku world for close to 60 years. His work has appeared in many journals, anthologies, chapbooks, and books, and he has been honored with various awards. He was named the 2022-23 honorary curator of the American Haiku Archives at the California State Library in Sacramento. He currently serves on the editorial team of the yearly Red Moon anthologies and is the first vice president of the Haiku Society of America. A hardbound collection of his selected haiku, The Wind at My Back, will be published by Brooks Book later this year. And here's Gary.
Okay, very, very pleased to be with you all. And on the other side of the continent, from San Francisco. I want to say the hardbound collection of my selected haiku that Brooks will be doing, and they spent a good time, a long time putting it together. I had some input, but I just want to say that it says "The Wind at My Back," but it's being published "Our Backs to the Wind." So you want to be able to put that in the search thing and get the right book. And yes, I have been writing for an awful long time, longer than probably many of you have been alive. I begin to think I've written too many haiku, and maybe I just ought to stop, but it's one of those addictions that it's hard to stop. And there's no Haiku Anonymous for people like me. So I'll be inflicting my haiku on the English language haiku world for some time. Well, until I keel over. So anyway, pleased to be with you and do this reading. My haiku are on a plain white background. I don't have any fancy fonts or any great artwork like Mimi, but that was very she made her haiku very attractive, and and she has great skill at that. So anyway, if Sue is my arm, if you could go to the first one. Okay, well, you can all like this deer, sit down, take a break, just have your eyes and ears open. So the next one, please. Coffee before it's cold, space and our shadows for the wind. Quiet news, paint peeling on its own. Window view of the parking garage. The life support machine takes over. A friend's obituary. Part of the morning the wind didn't use. Blank page, the other side of our words. Soft on our hands, harbor fog. Lunch break, no clouds to bring back to the desk. There they are. One of my many photos of clouds. Mom's photo album, names of the dead in her hand. Someone's missing sandal, an afternoon's ocean never losing a wave. Outlasting us, the mountains moment. Autumn moving into winter, all the picture hooks removed from the wall. Close by in thought, thunder. Closing the door to winter, all night diner. Each bucket to make the ocean smaller, grandsons. Taking on the morning quiet, coffee losing its heat. Clouds stretched until blue, missing the end of the eulogy. Windy snow, the stop sign guarding the crossroads. At our feet, waves reach the end of the ocean. Out of earshot, the mountain's other side. Yep, some more to go. Let's go. After dark, fireflies keeping us from it. Fresh flowers, the monument for fishermen still out at sea. Words to trudge through, fairy tale snow. Frosting the room, sounds less daylight makes. Held down by buttons, the dead man's collar. Night isn't any darker, letting old age change the color of my hair. My sister's front door, the mountain reaches us with silence. A visit for old time's sake, cherry blossoms falling on the fallen. Closed amusement park, the wind making snow drift. Catching the silence a butterfly brings for flowers. Summer end for worn out shoes for weeding flowers. Keepers in her hands, shells the ocean didn't break. While it rains, her answers fill up a crossword puzzle. Melting snow, a warning flag for buried power lines. Dusty, the dog's water bowl, now full of our memories. The river meets the ocean, a small barrier to lean on. Walking to the doctor's office, each step its own splash. Untouched by human desires, overnight snow. Rain outside, old tunes to hum inside. Closed office door, windows letting the clouds in. Hospital waiting room, the view after the same view. Luggage for the trip back, the color melts out of the snow. Water's edge, the patience of driftwood. Claiming sunrise, last night's dirty cups. Rain leaks through a world I didn't make. Rushing by, the wind taking its place in the future. Blasting through the car window, the other instrument in the jazz piece. That's all. Thank you for your kind attention. So it was a pleasure reading for you. I hope you enjoyed some of the haiku, and it was been great to hear Randy and Mimi and their work, and I'm looking forward to Debbie's. So all you keep up the good work.
Okay, we're now going to have our final reader. Yvette Nicole Kolodji is a poet and artist from Whittier, California. She is the moderator for the Southern California Haiku Study Group and the membership secretary for the Haiku Poets of Northern California. In 2025, she was a judge for the Poetry Out Loud competition for Placer County and the Haiku Poets of Northern California Renge contest, and an active delegate for the Arts for the Los Angeles. In 2023, she was the guest editor for the Haiku Foundation, Haiku of the Day Long, Haiku for the Day blog for June. Her poetry has been published in many haiku journals and has been recognized as a winner of the 2023 Santa Clarita Sidewalk Poetry Contest, runner-up for the 2025, 2022, and 2021 Golden Triangle Contest. She received honorable mentions in the 2022 Haiku Society of America Renge Award and the 2021 Haiku Poets of Northern California Renge Contest, and shortlisted in the 2014 for Haiku Foundation's Touchstone Award. She enjoys leading haiku workshops. And here's Yvette.
Okay, thank you for HPNC for selecting me to be one of the 4 2 autumn poets, especially with this cohort, Mimi Ahern, Randy Brooks, and Gary Hotham. It is an honor to be chosen, and thank you, Shirley and Randy Brooks, for editing the 2 Autumns chapbook. It is very beautiful. For my reading, I will share with you some of my haiga and some collaborative work too. All the poems from the 2 Autumns will have the chapbook cover next to it, so you'll be able to clearly see which ones are in it. Here it's going. Rare steak, his interrogation of my boyfriend. Battling elk, my elbow claims the armrest. Musical chairs, the shuffle between relatives. Broken teacups, a Disneyland dad without Disneyland. Filtered sun, I awake a woman. Butterfly, my bra too small. This is marker on canvas, and I'll show you a close-up so you can kind of see where I put the poem is in the lips. Ides of March, my absentee father calls to talk. His promised return, paper airplane. Beached boat, waiting for the tide to come home. Silence, the recipe for your love. So I'm going to read a poem that I wrote with my mom. You can see on the side which ones I did is with Y&K, and the ones she wrote is DPK. Angst, sneaking back in past curfew, a prick of the rose bush. Snapped twig, the motion sensor light. My mother sits on my bed, not another talk. Waning moon, my daughter's monosyllable answers. 2 weeks grounded, my light turns off. Bathroom trash can, I worry about her period. Coffee cup rings, when was the last time we talked? I actually used tea to actually make these little circles. Blind spot, I miss his signals. Vanity mirror, his interpretation of my poem. Summer rays, my story evaporates. New white shirt, the outline of my sunburn. Red tide, his excuse for all my anger. And I have the words with the string of the tampon. The ease of the B word, waterfall spray. Eroded rock, the sorries I shouldn't have said. High tide, the exhale of her breath. Starless night, I count his drinks. After our fight, my frozen pea pillow. Red and blue, a country bruised. American flag, the stripes fly separately. Civil unrest, the United States unmasked. Now, for this poem, I actually, after it was published, I actually created a Haiku with it. And so I'll share that with you. And it was shown, so I did embroidery of the poem. And then I also have floats that I made to accompany the poem, and all of those floats were made from paper and plant matter. So this poem is called Rose Parade. It was a tradition in my family, early morning rising, rushing out the door, half groggy into dusk, parking close enough but still too far away, dragging chairs, blankets, and snacks block by block to find cracks in the crowd for a good view, waiting in the cold for hours and hours, but this year was different. It was canceled. Missing what we can't have, Rose Parade. Looking back, it makes sense why it was canceled. New year, the twinkle in Pandora's eyes. Last year started with a bang, but not the kind you want. Australian bushfires, the worst in history, egged on by climate change. Then a pandemic hit, unlike anything seen in a century. It seemed like many forgot, just a cold, not more than a flu, no need for a mask. Painting outside, all the lines of science. Hoarding began, quarantine set in, social distance became the norm for more than the lonely. The rules of daily life changed, but not for all. Civil unrest, the United States unmasked. With the world still, the injustices could be seen by those who ignored it. Protests grew in the street, but the year went on. Spring set and summer came in. The anger needed a release, a moment to pause, a moment to think, a moment to breathe, a moment in nature. Alone on her path, the full moon turns blue. As time continued to pass, it brought governmental change. Each branch shifted. The powerhouse judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and with it, her progressive seat. But November came. We voted in a new Congress and a new president. New states became battlegrounds. A victory for a vice president who will become the first woman, first African American, and first South Asian American vice president. Two sides of a coin, sadness and joy. Rose petals fall off the float, new dream. So if you guys, it may be a little bit very SoCal local, but SoCal has the Rose Parade every year. And in 2021, it was canceled because of the 2020 pandemic. So I created this Rose Parade and wrote this poem for it. So it's supposed to be kind of about 2020 and things that happened during that time. Mission bell, overstaying your welcome. A flower's identity uncovered by an app, Experian data breach. Sine waves, we move between hotspots. Drawbridge, we switch from English to German. Each dish brings a new flavor, soapy dishwater. Scavenger hunt, the soap in the bathwater. So the the top part is beads and, and then the bottom is actually kind of salt and glue and Mod Podge to make it kind of different sheen. We talk of you, the churning of milk. Flowering gossip, the buzz, buzz, buzz of a busy bee. Wind change, we become friends. I also made a haiku for this poem, and all of this is made from, all these lines are actually friendship bracelets. And if with zooming in, you can see that I put the poem with the beads in it. Our toes touch, the sound of swirling leaves. A twist of the kaleidoscope, our love changes. The tickle of bristles, I cover up my hickey. A quickie before we go, parking lot dinner. He sleeps with me and the squirm of an earthworm. Shrouded mountain, a soft white sheet covers her peaks. Tulip mosaic virus, a beauty still undefinable. In case you guys are not aware, the tulip mosaic virus is what causes the stripes in a tulip. String of lights, the I do becomes we do. Prenup, the end of the movie reel. Washing machine, our unmentionables mingle. Wave after wave, another wave of clothes. This is all made from scraps of old clothes. Going green, my neighbor's lawn, browner. Fitbit, she laps the house 10 to 12. New job, his hair litters the sink. Polar winds, the push and pull of work from home. Uber driver, we all collectively pay his minimum wage. My car follows your car, migratory birds. White rabbit, waiting for a bus to Mars. Spaceship window, yearning for a home I never knew. So I wrote this poem, tanku with Becky Reese Van Buren. Gravitational pull, sunshine calls to me. I am climbing branches in my mind. Nocturnes murmur, I waltz with falling stars. My mind, the space between clouds. She continuously scans the day cam, Lake Erie. The outline of her body, ghost town. Grandma's shallow grave, the whole family divides, the cost of mourning. Kleenex, a monopoly of pain. I don't want to let go, the last leaf to fall. I don't care that I left you, trail of trash. So here's a close-up of it. All of this, this is supposed to be a trail marker, and I installed this for a art festival in near a lake near LA. Everything that is collaged onto the trail marker was found at the location of it. So all of that trash was found there. Blood moon, she wipes her lips with a napkin. Rattling windows, the voice within. Steam rises from the earth's crust, apple pie. Finding the measuring cup and Neowise. Neowise was a comet that passed around 2020. Dandelion leaves left out of the potluck. Burnt cookies, my second COVID Christmas. I know Bonnie is on the call here. I wrote this Tenranga with her. So if she wants, she can unmute to read it with me. Hers are for the first 3 lines, and mine is the second too.
Ambulance sirens, Christmas lights flicker in heavy mist.
We make a detour to Santa's workshop. The next one is also another Tenranga with Bonnie, or Bonnie M. Santos, pardon. Sorry. Christmas, Christmas, tart cranberries smothered with sugar.
She adds more rum to her eggnog.
I was playing around with the idea of using Christmas lights as a to make line work. So that's what I was doing in that image. Quarantine for a little longer, wolf moon. Varieties of COVID, more and more snow angels. A snowman instead of you, COVID Christmas. So this is an ornament I made. My excuse for the distance, COVID-19. 2 weeks after vaccination, Independence Day. I wrote this poem with my mom. It's about our trip to Japan. Kyoto tourists, stone lantern lost in a maze of torii gates. Between bamboo, a forest of tourists. The boatman's pole, cormorants with outstretched wings. Lines of cranes, a repetitive pattern in each stitch. Deciphering the stop, all-day bus pass. Sundown on the Golden Temple, my flight home. Kind words, the glow of sunlight through leaves. I wrote this Tonku with Becky Reese Van Buren. Blue skies, seagulls soar on violin notes, summer solstice. The subtle percussion of water dragging over the rocks, my feet rooted. The vine reaches out, telephone call. Underwater, the pen lingers and scrawls. My mind waits for the next words to appear and disappear. Octopus, and squid, a cloud of ink. Oh, that one was written with Marjorie Pizzoli Harding. And this one was written with Lee Hudspeth. Doomsday Clock, the butterfly trapped in an image, shifting sands. Wings of ascension, unlike my dark dreams, the stained glass carries some hope. Wildflowers, my dreams take root. Thank you so much for having me be part of this. And I'm really glad that I was with this group of poets. And thank you, HPNC and Shirley and Randy, for this wonderful book.